rewriting your future. Are you living the life you want, or are you letting life just happen to you? Hey, stick around. We're going to want to show you how you can take control. Good morning. Welcome to Mornings in the Lab, where we don't just talk about change. Oh, no. Nope. We make it happen. Yeah, I'm your host. I'm Keith Bilous, and I've got a quick reminder for you. This is a explicit show. Oh, yeah. So if you got the little kids nearby, now's the time to put the headphones on. Yep, or walk them out of the room, or turn the volume up. Just do it. Or if you want to teach them about bad words, yeah, we got the expert in bad words today on the show, Kristina Flynn, the expert in dropping every F-bomb you can imagine on the show here today. So I would invite you to take the kids, put them out, whatever you want to do, but we have an explicit show for you guys here today. So listen, today is a big one, folks. We are talking about how to rewrite your future. Yeah, taking back control, crushing those old limits and creating the life you really want, because I know you do. Hey, if you're laying there right now and you're pondering what to do, get up. Roll over. Don't hit the snooze button. Get your ass out of bed and rock and roll moving forward. And hey, listen, I'm not doing this alone today. I got my crew here with me, CMartyFit, Jon Andersen, and of course, Kristina Flynn. And you know the guy over there, producer Jimmy on the buttons. Oh yeah, he's always just pressing the buttons and moving shit around left and right, making sure everything is running smooth here on the show. But listen, here's the deal. Here's absolutely the deal today. Today is just not another episode. No, not at all. We are going to dive deep today, learning the exact tools and techniques you need to reshape your life. Yeah. And we've got some unpredictable, true story, and provocative topics lined up to keep it real. Plus, stick around. We bring in on Mark Leruste. Kristina said it's not Mark Leruste. No, it's Mark Leruste, center stage, as well as deep dive, talking about storytelling and how it can literally transform your future. Then later on, deep dive. Yep, we're breaking down the tools and mindset that you need to make that transformation a reality. And let's not forget, nation, coming up later today, CMartyFit, Jon Andersen, going to hit the gym. They spend time in the gym giving you tips and advice you won't get anywhere else except on this morning show. And of course, Kristina Flynn, the F-bomber, dropping here with the personal brand bite, and then her and I are sitting down at the end of the show to do the business and branding segment. I think John's going to hang out with us. We're talking about the Business Athlete Manifesto. We leaned into it yesterday. We're going to keep leaning into it today, and trust me, you do not want to miss this show. But before we jump in, guys, I invite you right now, go ahead and smash that like button. Just fucking smash it. Yeah. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below. Yeah. Let us know what goals you're chasing, because we're all about here in the lab. We're all about accountability and so forth. But listen, let's do this. Let's see what the crew is wearing here today. I'm going to bring them all on stage. Marty is in burgundy and red headset. Johnny's in black on black with, I think, the fuck excuses t-shirt on.
You really don't?
I don't actually know what it means. No, I don't. I went and bought this hat. I loved how simple it was. And I'm like, yeah, I'll buy the hat. I don't know what the logo stands for. So somebody knows watching what the logo stands for, please tell me what it means. But how's everybody doing today?
Well, good, man. How you doing?
It's another day. And another day with no name.
It's another loop. It's another loop, man. If you're going to say it, you got to say it right.
We don't call them days.
20,
that's what I'm saying.
And everybody knows the show, the loop. It's actually we reference this as the 24-hour loop, because a day is just 24 hours, and we've been given the ability and the opportunity to maximize that loop. So We're here to maximize.
There you go. I'm ready.
Hey, Marty, I was watching some reposts. I was producing some show post-producing the show yesterday. I was laughing at your comment because Johnny was talking last week about looping hours and looping weeks and less. And last week he made a comment that time's irrelevant to Jon Andersen. And you were like, oh my God, now time's not relevant to this guy?
Yeah, because it's relevant.
It's absolutely relevant.
If time wasn't relevant, he would press the snooze button, or he wouldn't care about the snooze button. I mean,
well, no, but let's flip the script. Let's flip the scririt. Is it?
There we go.
Are you time driven? Are you time driven, or are you result driven? If you're result driven, you want your results. So it's even better than time. You're not watching the clock. You're watching your results. You're chasing the feeling of that result.
You're chasing the feeling. Well, here's the thing, Marty, Johnny. You talk about flipping the script, Johnny. Let's just cut straight to it. You know, we hear this phrase all of the time. Well, Johnny says flip the script. Some people say rewrite your future. But what the hell does that actually mean? All right? It's not about waiting for some big moment to change your life. You know, John's like, what the hell are you waiting for next Monday for? No, you got to fucking start today. Start right now. Like, what are you waiting for? So you see, rewriting your future, Business Athlete Nation, is all about making the small, like little uncle over here, the small intentional decisions every day that push you toward the life that you actually want instead of working to retire for the life you think you want, right, Johnny? But a lot of us are on autopilot. Oh yeah, you roll over, you hit the snooze button, you think you're just going to let it happen. Life's just going to happen. You're going to react to life, reacting to whatever life throws your way. But here's the thing, nation. As you're listening to me today, as you're listening to Mark Leruste, you're listening to Jon Andersen, CMartyFit, AJ Zeiglin, Kristina Flynn. Yeah, true story. You have the power to change that. You're not stuck with the script that someone else wrote for you. Oh, fuck no. You think Jon Andersen rolled over and hit the snooze button before he became a world bodybuilder, world wrestler, world strong? You think Marty went up to California when the pandemic hit and rolled over and hit the snooze button? No. He took control of his story, and today you can take control of your story starting today. And you know where it starts? It starts with mindset. Yeah, the first tool you need, though, is self-awareness. Right, guys? Get real with yourself. What's working in your life, what's not. Then comes discipline. I'm telling you right now, if you're looking for motivation, that's a fleeting thing. You got to have discipline. You need habit stacking. You need to hang out with us in the morning, right?
Brother, this is a good one. I just got to say, I'm getting all round. I mean, I'm getting all wound up here.
You need discipline, guys, because if you're consistently making choices that align with your, with your goals, you're going to win. And then finally, Marty, finally, regardless, you got discipline, you got consistency, you need some fucking action. You need action. If you don't have action, you got nothing. If you got action, you're lazy. If you got action, you're dead. If you got no action, you're just reacting. You got to move. Moving creates momentum. Get up right now, damn it. Take the first step. Even if you don't see the whole path. Do you think when I started this show a year ago, do you think when I called Marty, I'm like, I got the show I'm starting? He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. We're going to get it figured out. We're going to get moving. We're going to create some momentum. So listen, John, see Marty, Kristina, what the hell do you guys think? How do we help people get off of autopilot today, get going and get rocking and rolling? Marty, start with you. Marty, start with you.
Yeah, go first, because I'm gonna chew it all up, brother. You better get some meat off this bone quick.
Marty, go, brother, go.
Cut me loose, man. Cut me loose.
Cut me loose, baby.
I'm big on, where do you want to be? You want to be in the same spot a year from now?
Yes.
Or do you want to be closer to your goal or at your goal?
Yes.
That's and a lot of times when I think a year from now, like I can't be at the same spot. I can't be putting this work in to not get better. So that drives me freaking crazy. So that helps me.
Yes. Tina, before we come to Johnny, Tina, where you give me some energy on this monologue this morning.
It's just real. I remember just over a year ago sitting and being in a really dark fucking place and being like, it doesn't matter if I want to change or not. Time is going to keep moving forward. And I can sit here in a year from now and feel a whole lot better about where I'm at and actually do something about it. Or I can come back here in a year and still feel really shitty with no changes being made. So I think Marty's point is on point. Years are like, it just is. Time's moving. If you don't change now, you're going to be in this exact same position when you revisit.
Time's moving, nation. You got to rock and roll. Johnny, get after it, brother.
Well, first off, what my co-host said is totally on point. So I love it. but how do we actually take what they said and it was okay, I register, I don't want to be in this place in a year. What the fuck do you do? Well, here we come, baby. Let's keep it simple.
Yep.
Your 24-hour loop or your day is going to include a series of activities or the lack of activities. You can literally change the trajectory of your life by changing what you do every day. So if you're going this way and you're like, God damn it, I don't want to go this way because if I go this way in a year, I'm going to be pissed off where I am. Change 2 or 3 of your daily activities. Obviously, create the habits out of them. Boom. You change the trajectory of your life and you end up over there where you want to go. So you have so much control and literally has to do with removing a bad habit or 2, even just 1, and implementing a few that will change the trajectory of where you're going.
That's it. And it all starts.
I want to add one more thing.
Go ahead, Marty. Go ahead, rock and roll, brother.
So I like to call it disruption. Yeah. You got to be disruptive. Yeah. So whatever your bad habits are, whatever your shitty plan or your shitty routine is, you got to disrupt it. Meaning you got to go against the grain. So 9 times out of 10, you're probably getting bad advice from the people around you, right? You probably have the wrong information, the wrong mindset. So you got to do whatever you need to do to disrupt it and change the trajectory.
That's it.
And
Mark.
if you're a parent, you could literally just look, do I want my kids doing this shit? Does my day represent a life I want my kids to live? And the odds are you're going to look at it and go, okay, there's some parts I'm good with, but Jesus Christ, I don't want them doing A, B, and C. Yep. Well, change that shit because they don't give a damn what you say. They care about what you do.
Oh, I love it, nation. I love it. We got some great comments coming in from the side here this morning. We got the future joining us. Good morning, Enzo. We are fantastic. Can't stay Enzo. So, Johnny, brother, you got to look at Enzo. You got to rip him one, man. He's talking about daylight savings time and all this shit. What's the hour, Johnny? Your team, buddy. Go ahead. Hit him.
Well, I mean, come on, man. Why is it that everybody gets all fucking bent out of shape about 1 hour changing once a year? Holy Christ. You know the worst part about this? This is a crazy thing. When we lose an hour of sleep, this is how fragile the general public has become. When we lose that hour, whichever way it flips, I don't know if we're gaining or losing this time, doesn't matter. But when we lose an hour, there's a massive increase in heart attacks because people are living a life where they're riding that ragged edge of just holding on. They lose an hour of sleep, and next thing you know, the fucking emergency rooms are filled up with these poor bastards that had heart attacks because they lost an hour of sleep. That just demonstrates, Jesus Christ, it's time to analyze your loop, people.
So Enzo, you heard Johnny. You heard old Uncle Johnny, brother. The snooze button wasn't around.
Yeah, I can go on a rant on that. I'm going to let it go because I know you got stuff to do.
Very good morning.
I could go on a rant.
Good morning. Good morning, good time. Good morning, Shinku. Good morning, Tangerine. We got a whole bunch of folks coming for this morning. And you're right, good Shinku. It's called stagnation. And the future is a mystery. The past is a memory, and the present is a gift. Tangerine, good to see you here. Yes, this is a motivational channel. We get out of bed to help you guys get out of bed and get yourselves started in the morning. And Tangerine's 47, and I have insomnia. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, if I'm sorry, hey, I'm glad you're here. So that's the most important for us. Selfishly, I'm glad you're here, Tangerine. Unfortunately, I'm sorry that you have some insomnia. John, I've been up since 5:30. I need to get up at 5:30 a.m. for work. That's awesome, Enzo. But hey, before I get to the accountability check-in, I want to drop a video, Jimmy, here quickly. We're going to take 2 minutes to drop this video before bringing Mark Leruste in. Marty dropped a video into my feed yesterday. I'm like, yes, perfect. So I had a different topic lined up for this morning. It's in my secret file that I haven't.
Hold on. I didn't even know you saw it because I ain't get a text back.
Are we at that relationship now, Marty? Where
I mean, give me a like. All you gotta do is double tap the like or something, so I know you got it. I wasn't prepared to talk about it. I had stuff to say, but I mean, it's cool.
Hold on. We got to go on both sides of the fence here. We're a team, so anytime one of us communicates, you got to make that acknowledgement. But Marty, on the flip side, but I got to come at you now, Marty. You don't need to prepare to talk. This is what we do.
No, you're right. That was soft. That was soft. That was soft. I'll take the blame. That's my bad.
So Uncle Keith did wrong. So sometimes I got to admit, John and Marty, I like to surprise you guys. And John and Marty, I thought to myself that if I didn't tell you, there'd be some kind of like, oh yeah, he's talking about this today. So I will reflect. I was wrong. I should have acknowledged, and I
Just
will.
All I need is this. That's all I need. Nothing else.
That's all I need. Part of our audience. Look at the growth. Wow.
I will acknowledge.
Tina, am I wrong, Tina?
Marty, you're not wrong.
I'm guilty of this also, and I'll tell you why, especially with videos, because if you send me a video and I click that video and I get into it, then I feel you. I'm gonna talk to my wife after about it. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna forget to get back to
you. My bad, Keith.
So
my
bad.
No. All good, man. This is fantastic. I love airing our clean laundry in public. It's just the fun of our show, Marty. But listen,
I gotta say, Marty, stick to those guns, baby. You throw a fucking hatchet. You throw a hatchet.
Thank you.
If you got the balls to throw the hatchet, don't fucking apologize. Jesus Christ.
I don't know if I'm wrong sometimes. That's all. That's it.
Marty's not. So listen.
Then you just be wrong full speed, and either way, you're good to go.
So here's the thing. We talk about no excuses. Marty dropped a video yesterday. Gentlemen, this is we try to make content for men and dads and so forth. Well,
what about excuses? Come on, look at that. Look at that.
One, I'm going to show you something because you talked about it just a few moments ago. You all don't know what's going to come on here, but this video is perfect way to start the show, man, because this video is going to show you that there's no excuses. Jimmy, let's roll it, brother. I got the vertical. Jimmy, you roll the horizontal. Team, check this out.
Good job, babies.
Daddy, I have a 12. Daddy, I have a 12. She's swinging,
12. You only need one more.
Dad, she's swinging.
Oh, good job.
Please. She's swinging. I'm gonna wet. I'm careful. The bottle is my super high. Dad, look at
Right now, and can't see the video. We just put a video on the stage of a father doing some squats and doing some lifts with a squat rack attached to his kid's play set. Nation, there is no excuse not to get a lift in. And what Johnny always says is not what you say, it's what you do. The kids are playing on the play set. Dad's doing squats. And what are the kids seeing, Johnny? What are the kids seeing, Marty? Are the kids seeing Dad to sit around? Or what are the kids seeing, Johnny, Marty? What are the kids seeing? What are the kids fucking seeing?
They seeing Dad get active. Let me tell you what made me send that to you, though. Because I always joke around and I say, the day I have kids, I'm breaking the internet because all the dads are going to hate me because I'm going to be working out with my kids all the time. I can't wait.
So check this out. So when my middle daughter was born, I was mid-flight in my pro strongman career. And so at the time, I was trying to get better at stones, the Atlas stones, where you're lifting the stones up on the box. So I had a set of stones made, had some boxes made in my garage, and she was little. So I put her in a little jumpy. Right, it was hooked up on the ceiling. It's a little thing she sits in, and she can jump, do like this to keep herself occupied while I'm lifting these stones. Well, somewhere along the lines, she basically realized she decided that if I wasn't lifting these stones, she wasn't happy. So she would cry like a mother if I wasn't lifting that shit. So I got to tell you, my middle daughter got me so damn good, in such good shape lifting stones because I had my rest time was so little because it was like, okay, I'm trying to catch my breath, and this kid is screaming, and I'm bouncing her, and she's not shutting up. As soon as I pick up the stone, she's quiet as hell. So it was a perfect way to be inspired to get in the best shape of my life with the Atlas stones.
The point is, gentlemen, no excuse to get rocking and rolling here today. Say, let's keep rocking and rolling here. Quick reminder, hit that subscribe button you haven't already. And if you're loving what we're talking about, Nation, share this with your friends. Share it with your friends. Tell your friends, subscribe to the channel. Somebody who's laying around who can use some motivation, invite them to our show and let us know in the comments what you're working on so that we can help you hit your big goals and help you achieve accountability.
And let me jump in 1 second.
Keep going, Tina.
Do why I love this conversation? Because all the time we're talking about women trying to get their workout in with the babies. What I love about this is it's not the woman's responsibility to fit it into her workout. It's everyone's responsibility to just make it happen. So it doesn't mean that it falls on your partner or your wife. You can do it too. It's just working out at the same time as you're taking care of your kid.
Oh, I love that.
100%. That's so true. I mean, you can find a way to train with your kid. I mean, that same daughter I was talking about 3 years later, she would come to me in a group setting, and I would always hear her come to me and say, "Daddy, they're throwing up again." So she was exposed to the type of work where people are vomiting. And she just, and to her, in her mind, that's the way you work out. And she became a savage.
No kidding. All right, we got Mark Leruste hanging out, waiting for us in the green room. But before we do that, we're going to do this. Jimmy, let's do it, brother. Producer Jimmy's on the buttons today. The guy's killing it every single day. All right, it's time for the daily accountability check-in. Oh, can you tell I got some energy today? Yeah, true. So today's December 15th, 2024. You're thinking, what? Yep. Here's what I've accomplished. No, not here's what I'm going to accomplish. Here's what I've accomplished. So I didn't wake up thinking about what I needed to do today. No, that's the wrong mindset. I'm reflecting on what I've already done. You see, this shift in mindset is absolutely everything. When you picture yourself at a future date, you're not imagining what can happen. You're focusing on what already happened. Think about that. Your goals become clear, your actions become more intentional, and you create momentum without the anxiety of thinking about trying to create it. So instead of worrying about the steps ahead, I will invite you to create momentum without the anxiety. Instead of worrying about the steps ahead, you're living in the results. Work backwards from your vision. Pretend it's a future date. Think about it. Don't look towards it, look back from it. You'll be surprised at what you can achieve. All right, there's the accountability check-in. Hey, listen, what are you going to be held accountable today? Because as we talk about rewriting our future, but it all starts with staying accountable to the things we say we're going to do. So let's hear from you guys. Drop a comment below. What's one thing you're committed to this week? Because we're going to check back on Friday later this week as we keep helping you guys move towards hitting your most audacious, big, accountable goals here. Jimmy, let's bring the rest of the crew up on stage. It's now time for center stage. Today's guest, I see him joining us here in the over on the stage. There is Mark Leruste. He knows all about cutting through the noise, like we talked about earlier this morning, and connecting with people. Mark Leruste is here today, and I got to get my button ready. Where the hell is it? There it is, Mark. What's shaking?
What's up, Mark?
This is cool. Like I've got to tell you, right? Like I'm over here in Europe, and I'm thinking we're doing something definitely wrong. I don't know what you all have been on this morning since you woke up. I don't know what you've had for breakfast, but you're on another level. Like I'm just going like, there's no wonder that Americans just get, and North Americans, Canadians get.
That's it, brother. You are joining the biggest fucking morning show on the planet. We get up every single day to help people like you and help people who are our audience get to bed and not hit the snooze button. Mark is an expert in personal storytelling. Yep, true story. And he's an expert in communication. He's helped leaders all over the world except for Jon Andersen. Connect with their audience, build trust, and drive change. Mark, welcome to the show, brother. Happy to have you here. Now, you've been in the game for many years. You help leaders communicate with clarity and impact, but your journey started, and Johnny, ears per cup, pal. Mark's journey started as a dyslexic kid with ADD, feeling like his...
Cut him loose.
Yes, right, Marty? Mark grew up, Marty. Mark grew up, Marty and John, feeling like his voice didn't matter. Yeah. But when he discovered the stage, I'm thinking, Johnny, like yourself, everything changed for Mark. He used storytelling to transform how audiences think, feel, and act. And he's raised millions for charity, helping leaders drive change in their own lives. Mark, it's great to have you here today. Let's jump into this. Mark, a lot of leaders struggle with cutting through the noise. They've got something to say, but nobody's listening. Mark, what's the key to communicating a story that truly connects and inspires action from your experience, Mark Leruste?
Thanks. First of all, just for anybody listening, my name is Mark Leruste. It's a very difficult pronounceable surname for anybody outside.
Leruste. Okay.
Leruste, like Leruste is on fire. Like, you know what I mean? Like the
there you go. Leruste. Yes.
Leruste is on fire. That's how you can remember it. Look, I think if I had to like boil it down to something really simple, is that most.
Oh, come on, baby! You hear this? That's my brother. We were cut from the same cloth from the beginning. I'm sorry, I won't interrupt again, but I love this already.
No, it's all right. By the way, I was thinking, Keith, you make me think of Mark Wahlberg, who's just down like gallons of Red Bull. Like, just the energy that you bring is just awesome. I want a piece of that. Look, I think one of the biggest mistakes I see people do, especially in the leadership context, is they make their stories about themselves. So they want to get the spotlight on them. They come across maybe as they're saying that it's not about them, but we can feel it. Like as an audience, we can feel when something's not genuine, when something's not authentic, when something is got like an agenda all about them. Instead, I'd say flip the switch and make it about your audience. What is the message you want to land? What is the thing you want your audience to think, feel, or act differently as a result of what you share? And then find the appropriate stories that land that message.
Yeah. Johnny, questions for Mark or Marty?
Yeah, no, I guess what I want to know is, talk to me about the beginning of your journey, because, we had really similar starts. And so like for me, I discovered weightlifting. It was the first thing I felt like I was actually good at, which for me, that was a first. So what was kind of your trigger when you were coming out of, when you were turning your disabilities into blessings?
I love that. And that's exactly right. So I was born and raised in France in the 80s. It was kind of like an archaic educational system where they didn't know anything about like what I call neuro spiciness. So like they didn't really know anything about ADHD or dyslexia. And so I used to be bullied like on a regular basis by my school teachers, not my peers. Like my school teachers would hand like in front of everybody in my spelling tests, and they had red crosses everywhere. And they'd be like, look, this isn't a spelling test. This is a cemetery. And everybody would laugh. And I would just be like feeling awful. And I couldn't spell, couldn't read out loud, couldn't do basic maths, couldn't read. And I just felt like I sucked. But I had this inner belief, like the honest truth is, I had this inner belief that I was going to become somebody. And it was probably like a defense mechanism if you look at it from a psychology perspective. But it was like, I'm going to become a Hollywood actor. Like I was just sure that I was going to become the next Tom Cruise or whatever you want, right? And I don't know why, but probably because I was used to perform for my mum, who was an English teacher. So my mum's an English teacher, and she wanted to bring theater to her kids so they could experience like confidence and putting themselves out there and all this kind of stuff. But she had 2 young sons that she couldn't leave in the car for 8 hours during rehearsal. So she brought us on board. My brother hated it. I took it like a duck to water. And she would put me in the back like as a bush or like a dancer in like Grease or whatever it was, or Bugsy Malone. And in this one particular instant, I must have been about 6 years old, maybe 6 or 8 years old. And my mum put up a performance of Bugsy Malone, the musical. And I was a ventriloquist puppet. So I didn't even speak, right? Not even a word.
Dude.
But they carry me on stage and everybody's laughing and I'm doing like all these silly things on stage and I'm getting this reaction from the crowd and I'm loving it. Not going to lie. Loving the attention, loving the reaction. But what happened pretty much changed my life after that, which is when I got off stage, all these people came up to me like, oh my God, you're amazing. That was amazing. And it was the first time I got praised by adults, right? Outside of my parents. And I was like, oh, so actually it's not because I sucked in this environment, I suck everywhere. There's that old Einstein quote of like, if you tell a fish that it's inadequate because it can't climb a tree, it'll feel like it's stupid its whole life. And it was very much like that.
Mark, some people would say that storytelling isn't that important, but it's the results that actually speak for themselves. What would you say to those that think they don't need a personal story to succeed? They just need to create the results and let the results speak for themselves. Mark.
So what I would say is the results can be done in 2 ways. You can get the results the hard way, or you can get the results the easy way. Like I was interviewed the other day on a show and I said this, it kind of makes me think of this, like, if you go to Japan and you want to make sure you understood that people who live there, what language would you need to learn how to speak? Japanese. If I go over to Spain, what language? Spanish, right? You get the drift. If aliens came over to planet Earth and they had to ask, how do we communicate best to humans? I would say learn the language of stories. That's the language that is most native to us, right? It's been around for over 400,000 years. And I think people who are uncomfortable with the idea of having to use stories, it's either they don't understand the science behind stories or they make it too complicated. Like they just think it's like, I need to come up with this 12-step Joseph Campbell elaborate hero's journey pattern. But actually in my book, Glow in the Dark, I talk about it. You just need 3 things. There's just 3 things you need to use to turn any personal experience into a powerful story that people remember. And that is, you need to give us some context. So give us enough information, but not too much so I'm distracted, but enough so I don't have to ask too many questions as to what's going on. Give me the connection. That's step number 2. What's going on? What's the emotional resonance? Why is this an important story that you're worth sharing? And the third point, which is where most people go wrong, give me a conclusion. What's the point of your story? Because there's this famous, quote, I forgot who said it. It's like, never say a point without a story or a story without a point.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, listen, go ahead,
a
John.
good story is going to provoke an emotion, and people remember emotions.
Yes.
You can remember, I mean, when you're remembering 40 years ago, for those of you that are in your 50s, you're remembering shit that's tied the stuff that I remember is always connected to emotion. And I remember very clearly. The stuff that's not connected to emotion is very foggy, very fuzzy. I don't have a clear memory.
Well, even as a kid, if you ask, sorry to jump in, but if you say to me, if I say to you, what were some of the favorite stories your parents or your carers or your grandparents used to tell you when you were a child, you'd probably remember some of these fables, these stories, right? But if I ask you, like, do you remember the quantitative math that you took at school? Like, do you remember like the equations that you won't remember that, but you'll remember the story that you heard.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because the whole reason that I invited Marty to join me on the show is because when I met Marty on Live in the Lab and did an interview with Marty told me his story. And then truthfully, I couldn't stop thinking about his story. And then I watched how he kept showing up every single day. But what stuck for me was when Marty's like, yeah, I ended up in California. The pandemic happened and I didn't roll over. I had to figure it out. I'm like, holy shit, man, this guy's got a story. And that just emotionally resonated with me. And I have not forgotten about it. And it's like something that Mark, it's ingrained in me. That's a core attribute that I think of when it comes to Christopher Martin. Right? This resilience, this discipline, this holy shit, man, I'm stuck. I got to figure it out. And he did. Like, that's pretty powerful to me, right? So I can really relate to the idea of the story. And then obviously, John's got his stories as well that I've got a privilege of knowing here. So, but anyways, listen, let's keep rolling here. If you're vibing with Mark, with what Mark's saying, Mark's sticking around for deep dive. If you're vibing with what Mark is saying, hit the like button, subscribe, drop us a comment, tell us how you're using your story to connect with others. And stick around because Mark's going to come back for deep dive where we're going to get into some of the tools you need to rewrite your script. But before we do that, Jimmy, not that one. We got this. We got Marty coming up for the Fit Tip, bottom of the hour. He's got some fitness advice to get you guys through the day today. Let's do it, Marty.
Let's do it. Let's get it. All right, we're going to talk about posture today. All right, so if you're working long hours, you want to avoid bad posture. It's easy to develop bad posture when you're working these long hours. So I'm going to give you some quick tips and some exercises to keep your body aligned and healthy. Number one, set a reminder on your iPhone, your Droid, Apple Watch, whatever you have. Every 30, 45 minutes, get up, stretch, take a quick walk, get your body moving so you're not sitting in that slouch position all day for 8 hours straight, all right? Another thing, your computer should be at eye level, all right, and have your chair support your lower back. That's also going to prevent you from just slouching all day. Now, you can still slouch there, but we're just going to take some more preventative measures, all right? Now, some stretches that you want to include specifically, definitely neck stretches. And if you get massage appointments, regularly every now and then, have them massage the muscles in your neck as well. Chest openers. Me and Johnny talk about it all the time. I did my chest openers yesterday on chest day. But you can get a rail, or get a rail with both arms behind you, open up that chest, and you can do the cat-cow stretch. Not a stretch that I typically do, but you can do anything, though. I mean, even stretching your glutes, stretching your hamstrings, those are things that are going to relieve tension from your lower back. And then, of course, you got to strengthen your core and your back. Exercises like planks, Supermans, and any compound lifts me and Johnny talk about all the time that are always going to work your core, squats, deadlifts, lunges, things of that nature, all right? So make these things a habit, right? Keep it on your mind. Always think about it. And listen, we're getting older. We're aging. So these things become more important as we get older, and you have to do them even more if you want to stay on point and keep your posture on point. That's the fitness tip for today.
Tip of the day, every single day by Christopher Martin, CMartyFit, the dude that gets you fit. Yeah, that's what he does. True story. All right, now it's time for the deep dive with Mark Leruste. Yeah, not Mark Leroux, Kristina Flynn, Mark Leruste.
You got it now. This is on fire.
Talking about how to rewrite your future with Mark Leruste. He's here to help us break down the exact, true story, exact tools and techniques you need to shape the life that you want. Mark, in the previous segment of Center Stage, we talked about the power of storytelling. But let's now talk for the next 13 minutes or so about the specific tools that people need to reshape their future. What are the first steps, Mark, that someone can take to start rewriting their life script? You know how I started the show this morning, we just get up and get going. Don't hit the snooze button. Get freaking going. Create movement to create momentum. But Mark, what are the first steps you would advise someone to start rewriting their life script? Mark Leruste.
So I think the first thing you need to acknowledge is there's only two ways this is going to work. Either you own your stories or your stories own you. Mm-hmm. And so the first thing I would recommend anybody doing is go through the 3-step process I share around the concept of sourcing your story. So you got to make an inventory of your life stories, from your personal to professional experiences, your highs and your lows. Call it the river of life if you want. So you really take the time, even if you put 20 to 30 minutes on a timer, take a big piece of paper out, pen, and I want you to write down everything that you can think of that shaped you in one way or another. Maybe these are things that you'd rather forget, maybe things you wish you could remember, things that you want to celebrate, things that you want to mourn, all the things that shaped you one way or another. You may not yet see how any of these are relevant to helping you move forward with your message, with connecting with others. But trust me when I say this, do not go over the step. The reason being is, imagine a pantry. I think that's the right word. Sometimes between English in the UK and English in North America, we get a bit of lost in translation. I think it's called pantry, where you put like all your food and all that stuff, right? So sometimes you don't know what you want to cook tonight. So you want to get all your pantry out to see what's still fresh, what's out of date, what do you want to disregard, what do you want to keep, what goes well together. Same thing, right? You're going to source your stories. Once you go through the process of sourcing your stories, what you want to do is you want to look at, okay, what are some of the stories that I feel like are really uncomfortable to share? Mm-hmm. Some of them might be because they're still open wound stories, like whatever you want to call them, little T, big T trauma, stuff that just you might want to take best with a therapist or a mental health professional, a really trusted friend, whatever it is. Those might not be the best stories yet to share in public. There might be one day, but maybe not at this stage. Then the next thing you want to do is you look at the next level of stories, which is like, hey, these feel a little bit edgy to share, but I feel like they're holding me back as long as I hide away from them or I'm afraid of sharing them. Then you take the 3-step process I shared previously in the show about the 3 C's. And then the third step is you start sharing them, and they sharpen as you share. And I learned this actually when I used to hang out with a comedian called Trevor Noah in South Africa when I used to live there. And I saw him pretty much every evening go out into small comedy bars and clubs and just practice. And he would just share his stories, and you would see the impact that he would have. You would see the joke that would land, what wouldn't. You would craft, shape, shift, deliver, and practice. So your story sharpens as you share it. Mm. And I think eventually what I've seen, and I don't know if anybody can relate to this on the show this morning, but there are certain parts of ourselves that we deem to be unlovable, that we deem to be embarrassing, that we deem to be shameful, that we might have guilt around, whatever you want to call it. The moment you can own those stories and acknowledge how they have shaped you, but they don't have to define who you are, and that you can actually use them to leverage, to land a message, connect with an audience, or share a message, then it becomes one of the most powerful things you can do. And I think that's how you propel yourself moving forward, at least in your life.
Jon Andersen. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, the idea that the I guess the worst challenges, the worst situations, the biggest traumas in our lives are actually blessings. When we can look at things from the other side, it's a life-changing ordeal. You know, people get trapped in either this victim mentality, this learned helplessness, where everything that happens to them, their story is that's why they don't have what they want, because this and this happened to me. How about this? And for me, I mean, I was a dumb little son of a bitch. Thank fucking God, because I would not have developed this massive problem-solving skill to survive, so to speak. And I leverage that into the life I want. So I just love what you're talking about, brother. It's the things that happen to you, they're blessings. They're not curses.
Yeah, because you can't heal what you don't reveal.
Yeah.
I wanted to add something too. You mentioned Trevor Noah practicing and just we had a whole episode on reps, I think last week or the week before. But reps are everything, and that applies to even storytelling. We talk about it with 100%. Working out, we talk about it with business and family, but it applies to storytelling as well. And then you mentioned, I guess, just being scared to tell certain parts of you or certain stories about you. And Johnny always says, you pull your pants down a little bit. So, but I think what helps with sharing those vulnerable parts about yourself is realizing that everybody has their bullshit. Like everybody has been embarrassed, has been heartbroken, has been hurt, lied to. So, that helps me be a little more vulnerable. So I just wanted to add to what you were saying pretty much.
Yeah.
Love that.
I think you're absolutely right, Marty. And as we've done this show together, we keep getting these reps in every single day and getting more comfortable ourselves. In many ways, Mark, we're like Trevor Noah right now, doing our little thing to our, 1,000 people, few hundred people as we work our way towards SoFi Stadium.
Yeah.
Right. So we know one day we're going to wake up in an arena of 100,000 people. But right now we're putting in the reps, right? Working on our story. Right. But Mark, there's some people listening right now that still haven't grabbed the Kool-Aid that Marty's serving up, grab the Kool-Aid that Johnny's serving up, or grab the Kool-Aid Keith's serving up. And they're thinking that their future is impossible. It's too late. Or they just don't have the tools. And they go, nope, I'm looking at my watch, Mark, not too late. I'm just stuck in my career, stuck in my job. I'm done. I don't got no story to tell. What are you saying to that person? They don't have the tools. They don't know how to get started. What do you say to that person who says that, fuck it, man, I'm just rolling over, hitting the snooze button, and my future to change my future is impossible, Mark Leruste?
Well, it's like if you believe it is, then it probably is, right? It's kind of like if you've already given up before you started. The one thing I always say to people is like, it's over the day you die. That's it. Like that is literally the day that it's over, is the day you die. Until then, you always have an opportunity. I remember I used to run master classes around like how to find meaning and purpose in your work and that kind of stuff. And I used to share a few slides. One of them was Morgan Freeman. I think Morgan Freeman got his break in like late 50s. Like that's when he started getting a break in his career. There are people starting business in their 70s. Like there is no like date of expiration unless it's your death. That's it. Like, and you could argue like even after you die, you could leave like a book behind that could continue after you're long gone. But I want to say is this, and I talked about this recently. It's like the reason why change feels so hard is that it's not logical. It's biological. Like you can get inspired by these conversations today. You could go, yeah, I need to get the reps. I need to get my works out. And you're right. And then something will happen. Right. And like, as Eyal talks about in Indistractable, it's like time management or even weight management. It's not logical. It's emotional. It's actually pain management. So you've got to understand that your body is fighting against you to do something that feels scary because it wants you to survive. It wants you to stay. And even though we're born for greatness in a way, we are biologically wired to be afraid of the unknown, to want to minimize energy consumption, to seek pleasure, to avoid pain. So all these things are playing against you. So it takes a certain commitment. And I will finish with this. This is what Dr. Valerie Young taught me on my podcast, who studied imposter syndrome. And she said, the last thing to change are your feelings. And I want to say that one more time. The last thing to change are your feelings, meaning if you wait to feel a certain way before you act, you're doomed, because it's actually the opposite. Taking that first step, starting to make some strive towards those goals, whether that's your fitness, whether it's your career, your business, your relationships, your family, making those first steps is what will then change the emotion that you're waiting to feel before you start. But if you wait for it to come, it never happens.
Wow. Marty, Johnny, Mark's dropping nuggets for us this morning. But here's the thing. Here's the takeaway, nation. As Mark has said, rewriting your future is about two things. And no, it doesn't involve the snooze button. Rewriting your future is about action and intentionality. That's it. It's as simple as that. It's about starting small and making choices that move toward the life that you want. And as you heard in my accountability check-in, start rewiring your brain and thinking about what you have achieved instead of what you're going to achieve. Mark, thanks for hanging out with us this morning. Thanks for bringing the energy.
Powerful, brother. Powerful stuff.
Mark, how can folks find you? How can folks connect with you? How can folks find you? And how can folks get some of that storytelling out of Mark Leruste?
So my website is Mark Leruste. That's MarkLeruste.com. You can also find me on Storycast. That's cast.co. But mostly I hang out on LinkedIn. I'm going to be honest, I'm not on Instagram as much as I used to. I do pop in every once in a while, but I'd love to hear if anything sparked any curiosity. Even if you've got anything that you'd feel challenged by what we talked about today, and if you're like, actually, I'm not quite sure about that, hit me up. I appreciate Kristina with a K to put you, Keith, on my radar and for inviting me onto the show and hanging out with you all. I'm going to check it all out on social media and make sure that I connect with you both. Well, all three of you, and thanks for having me, man. It's been awesome to kind of come on a morning show in the afternoon here in France. So it's like a truly global show.
That's it. So, Mark, we got this morning show here. One day for the morning show in France. That's the ambition. Maybe you can be one of our hosts over there. So hang out with us, and we'll rock and roll there into the future. But hey, have yourself a great afternoon. Thanks for joining us today here in the lab. Mark Leruste is making his way out of here, and we're rocking and rolling over there to the next segment. If you're ready to rewrite your script, yes, let us know in the comments. Good morning, Shelly Spence. Good to see you here. And if today's conversation is resonating with you, listen, hit the like button, subscribe, share this episode, tell your friends, tell your family. But right now, there's that sound effect. Johnny, I know Johnny's bringing the energy from Mexico today. He's got a quick lifestyle tip to help you stay on track. And then we come back. You got the mind dude, the mental dude, AJ Zeglin coming in to talk about, well, some mental tips. Anderson, what do you got for us today, brother?
Let's go, baby. All right. The lifestyle tip for today. This starts with a question. Does luck really exist? Absolutely, it exists. However, it favors those that are prepared. I can't tell you how many photo shoots I got because someone else wasn't prepared and I was. Opportunity, luck, they're kind of the same thing. Luck is camouflaged with opportunity. So the question you got to ask yourself is, are you living a life where you stay prepared to capitalize on the luck, which is an opportunity that will give you what you want moving forward in your life? So remember, the formula is simple. If you want to capitalize on luck, you've got to get prepared and stay there. Rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly. Jon Andersen, a lifestyle tip daily, 8:45 Eastern time. That's what it's about. All right, now it's time for the Mind Fuel, the segment where we go deeper into the mental side of transformation with our mental dude, AJ Zeglin. Today's topic is all about breaking through the mental barriers that hold us back. And you've heard me say time and time again, you're sitting there laying up, you're starting your morning this morning, you're considering hitting the snooze button. Don't do it. Get up and unlock your full potential for self-transformation. We got Zeglin joining us here to break it down. AJ, you have been through it all. Been all over the planet helping folks. Let's talk about what it means to break through those mental barriers and take control of your future. But before we go there, Age, what's shaking today, buddy? How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
We're good.
What's up, brother?
Doing good, man.
We're good. We're talking changing lives today. And AJ, a lot of people struggle. They struggle with these idea of limiting beliefs. And I know in your practice, you got athletes, you got the regular dude, you got men showing up, knocking on your door saying, I don't think I can. I don't know if I can do it. And they have these mental roadblocks when they're trying to change their lives. And as we come into October, November, December, the whole January resolution stuff around the corner, AJ, what are some of the common mental barriers that you have seen that hold people back from rewriting their own story? AJ Zeglin.
I think the main one is just people's lack of belief in themselves, you know, especially I know this is a show for men, this morning show. And what I actually see a lot in working with a lot of men is that they just haven't had any like genuine encouragement in a long time too. Right. And that can kind of wear on you. And you have to find some of that yourself. But of course, none of us are completely ever self-made. Right. We rely on each other. And if we're stuck, if we need something to kind of help propel us into the next step, it can really help to have a friend, a mentor, a coach, someone like that shows just a little bit of belief in you and shows you some real genuine encouragement. Right. But yeah, I think it's just that lack of belief and evidence that we have in ourselves that we're capable, right? And that's usually what holds people back. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's interesting, AJ, to hear you say that, because I'm thinking about, like, I was going to offer up to you, what are the tools that somebody needs to help shift their mindset? Is it journaling? Is it meditation? Is it something else? But what it sounds like you're saying, and I'm loving what you're saying, because what you're saying is that most often we need a friend. We need an accountability partner. We need somebody to give us that encouragement, whether it's our wife, our partner. And I'll tell you something, I'll be very vulnerable. I'm getting it every single day with my team here now. Like every single day I get something from Marty. I get something from Johnny. I get something from Tina. And that encouragement, that those words, that something, it just moves until tomorrow. So it's interesting to hear you say that, AJ, that ultimately that's what we need, isn't it? We need somebody, you know, that, and we also know male loneliness is a massive thing happening in the world these days, but just that simple bit of encouragement. Is that what you're saying, AJ?
Totally. Yeah. And it comes down to, just relationships, right? The relationships we have with the people around us and the relationships that we have with ourselves, which is, oftentimes a really overlooked relationship, right? There's a great quote, and it's funny. It just came across my path the other day. Our good friend Matt Bailey there shared it on his LinkedIn, and every time I see it, I just love it. And the quote is, "Self-esteem is your relationship with yourself." And so we got multiple relationships going on, but one is with ourselves, but we need some sort of evidence for ourselves to believe in something. We were talking the episode last week on how our mind kind of goes to what we give attention to and thinks that stuff's important. If we haven't had a win in a long time, if we don't, we haven't felt like we've accomplished something, or if we felt we've been floating around without any like meaningful purpose, or we haven't been useful in a long time, it can be really easy to start questioning yourself, right? Because for you to believe in it, your brain's going to look for evidence. It's going to be like, if I'm going to say I'm a useful person, I have purpose, my brain's going to be like, okay, where's the evidence? Well, what have you been doing? And I'm going to think back and be like, well, I've been not working and laying on the couch for the last 6 weeks and not exercising and eating like crap. So yeah, I guess there's no evidence, right? So then we it's hard for us to believe it, right? So I know we've talked a million times about taking that first little step, but if we could take that first little step, it's like in the gym, the theory of progressive overload, where you're just adding a little bit of weight each week, or an extra rep each week, or doing something a little quicker each week, and then all of a sudden you look a month or 2 months later and you're like, holy shit, like I'm actually up like 20 pounds on my squat. That's a substantial amount of weight. I did that by adding 5 pounds at a time, or whatever it is. Same with the progressive overload works with our mental health as well, right? That next little step, we accomplished something. Now we got a little bit of belief in ourselves. All of a sudden we look back after a month and we're, looking for that confidence that on who we are. And we're like, yeah, I have some evidence now. I've been getting out of bed with intent, not hitting the snooze button. I've been going for a walk every day. I've been drinking more water. I've been like cut out my McDonald's breakfast or whatever it is, right? But now you have some evidence. Now you have some belief in yourself.
Oh man,
Johnny, I see you leaning in here, Johnny. Talk about small wins, Jon Andersen.
Well, I mean, as AJ is talking, I'm sitting here, and it's also resonating. And here's one of the things that I ask myself, and I even help my clients with this, is like, okay, first thing you got to understand is the man who believes he can and the man who believes he cannot are both correct. So ask yourself the question, do you believe you can? If you don't believe you can, then the next question you've got to ask yourself is, are you doing the things every day that's going to build the confidence you need to help you believe you can? Because once you believe, you can achieve. So there's a little bit of a system to get yourself on the right side of the fence in terms of how I go about it. And it's pretty much an extension of what AJ's talking about. And I love it when he's on here, because it's like we're just talking the same language.
Well, you know what's funny? Marty, go ahead. Marty, go ahead, bro.
I want to add something real quick. All right, fellas, listen up. All right, you might not relate to what Johnny said. You might hear it better from me. I'm gonna break it down simple for you. All right, small wins are big wins. All right, so the smallest fucking wins, excuse my language, you got to tell yourself that's the biggest win of the day.
Yes.
If I got my workout in, I ate clean, I made some money, my girl happy, my mom, my dad happy, I was a good son, then that's a fucking win for the day.
Oh yes.
Then I'm pumped up I'm waking up the next day fired up. I got to win. Let's do another win. Something might not be going right in business or at work, and that's probably killing your mindset, killing your mental. But if everything else is going right and you get that momentum, just like Johnny said, luck is going to favor the person who's putting the work in. So you putting the work in, you're getting the small wins. The big one is coming. You just got to keep that energy going. And a lot of people let that one little thing throw them off, even though it's big, right? But you got to work those small wins. Don't underestimate them small wins.
Oh, I got goosebumps.
Marty, I just want to say thank you for simplifying what I said, because I aim to simplify and you took it another level, brother. So thank you. That was a good show.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Marty, address Mike's comments here on the screen, brother, because this is an awesome message. And I know, Marty, you've gotten to know Mike like I have, but check this out, brother.
Been a pretty bad, but like thanks business. Hey, that's what we're here for. Mike McQuillan.
Yeah, so Mike's stating here, I needed this today. I've been in a pretty bad rut lately. Thanks, Business Athlete Nation. And Mike, that's why we're here. And you know what, Nation? I want to lean into this for a quick second. Some of you might think, we're talking about this all the time. This is kind of boring. No, actually, life is actually boring. If you're succeeding and getting small wins, it's probably boring. Right? It's not about staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning, hitting the bars and crushing Big Macs at 3 a.m. and sleeping.
Well, guess what else?
Little small wins. So as Marty said, go and be a good son today. Go and be a good husband today. Go and be a good dad today. Those little wins. And then if you did nothing for the rest of your day, think about how awesome you're going to feel.
Guess what else? Boring is good.
Yes.
Right before the show started, I was watching a clip of Gilbert Arenas talk about when he worked out with Kobe Bryant.
Oh, yeah.
And he told Kobe, I make 100 shots in each spot. And Kobe was like, okay, let's do 1,000. He was like, that shit was so fucking boring. But boring is good. The most successful people do a lot of boring shit to get to the big result. So.
Yes. So you're going to get the same themes here, Nishan, every single day, is giving you guys content, giving you guys actionable advice to get your day going and not hit the snooze button. And AJ, before we wrap up the segment today, dude, I love having you in on these these Tuesday and Thursday segments, always giving us something to think about. But AJ, give Business Athlete Nation, give Mike McQuillan something actionable that somebody can start doing today. How can somebody break through their own mental barriers and start making real changes? Is there one thing, AJ, you can give somebody to get going today, brother?
Yeah, I would say, it's hard to know where you're going without any direction, right? So identify something that you want to do. We just talked about small wins. So identify a couple small wins. So you're very clear on what that looks like. Marty had a few there. Hey, am I going to be active today or get a workout or be a good son? Okay, so what does that look like? I'm a good son. I'm going to call my mom or whatever it is, right? So we know that it's clear, and then just act on it. The action starts the whole thing. And I know that's tough for people because we always think it's, we talked about this the other day too, about the action, precedes motivation. And, so just pick something, anything, and do it.
One thing.
Yes. Just find one thing that you think and just do it. And the next day, just do it again. And the next day, just do it again. And you're going to see how that all of a sudden just starts to snowball into something great and something bigger. So the one tip is just pick one thing and just do it. Find that one thing.
And it's simple, Nation. You guys think it's simple, but it's not. That's why we've created this show. Accountability is the most difficult thing for us as human beings to consistently do day in and day out. So I'll challenge you. Start drinking. Marty and John talk about water all the time, and so does AJ. So AJ, we're all drinking lots of water. If there's one thing you can do today, go hit your numbers around your water today. Do one thing. Right.
Let me sneak in there real quick, brother. The one simple win, like AJ's talking about. Get up and literally your first win is drink a big glass of water. It's easy. Have it set up the night before, because as you start to rehydrate, you're actually going to feel better and you're going to want more. So that one easy win is actually kind of a compounding effect. So that's always the first win that I program for my clients. Out of bed, that water's already in the bathroom. You get up, you take a piss, boom, that water's there. Down goes the glass. Easy win. Hell, you haven't even wiped the sleet out of your eyes yet.
Oh, I love it. There you go. AJ Zeglin, our host of Mind Fuel. Drop it in Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8:45 Eastern time. AJ, have a great one, brother. I know you want to stick around for the reloaded segment on sex bots, but I know you can't. So I know you're going to leave all your advice for our friends Marty and John here today.
No, I appreciate it. I always appreciate being on. I look forward to coming back and listening to this and seeing how this conversation goes. I will add something really, really so very quick too, though, is also too, sometimes if we're down in a hole and we're not feeling like we can do anything for ourselves, that one thing that you pick doing something for somebody else. We just started this conversation about about, looking after each other. There's an idea in social psychology that we're not only responsible for ourselves, but everyone around us. So if we're in a spot like that, reach out and do something nice and meaningful for somebody else. Not only is it going to affect them, it's also going to affect us, and it's going to give you that little confidence, like, hey, like I actually have the power to make change and do something, right? And that can kind of then parlay into our own belief in ourselves and doing things for ourselves as well. So
yes,
wonderful
brother. Yes.
Advice.
That's good, man.
Gave me goosebumps. Listen, if you're ready to start breaking those mental barriers and unlocking your potential, drop a comment below. Yeah. And if you love today's Mindful segment with AJ Zeglin, hit the like button and subscribe for more content just like this. Listen, coming up, we got business and branding coming up. But first of all, we are wrapping up hour one. Before we do that, though, we're going to invite in our friend with some sounds that sound just like this, Jimmy.
Yeah, Coach.
Yep, that's right, Marty. The coach.
The coach is here.
Twitcher. She's twitching.
Age, have a good day, brother. We got the coach.
All right, AJ.
Thank you, AJ.
For the personal brand bite with Kristina Flynn.
Get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right. So, what if I told you that you are not the story that you've been telling yourself? Here's the thing. We don't actually know ourselves. And we think we do, but we don't. And that's all thanks to neuroscience. So, the reality is that your reality isn't reality. It's actually your brain's perception of reality, meaning that everything that we've experienced and that we do experience is filtered through our past, our memories, our assumptions, and all of the stories we've been telling ourselves for years. Shout out to the amygdala, hippocampus, prefrontal cortex for that. So when you find yourself thinking things like, I'm not that kind of person, or, I'm really not that interesting, or like, what have I done that's actually impressive? That's just your brain making predictions based on past experiences, not reality. So this is where AI can step in, and it's helped me greatly. I use ChatGPT as a tool to help me discover my actual story and to get a third-party perspective on things that I thought I knew about myself. And the insights that I got were mind-blowing. The reason was because AI actually cuts through that bias that's actually existing in your brain. It helps you see your story for the reality that it is, not the limited version that your brain is trying to serve you up. So if you've ever doubted that you have a story or felt like you're not interesting enough, that's not reality. It's your brain's perception. And AI can help you uncover the real you. Do yourself a favor. Open AI, ask it to interview you, and give it the goal of helping you understand your personal story better and see what happens. You deserve to know how truly incredible your story really is. I have entered my no fucks era. And if you give today's Brand Bright a try, I promise you that you'll be one step closer to entering yours. You got this.
All right, Kristina Flynn, personal brand bite, every day 8:58. Welcome back to Mornings in the Lab Reloaded. This hour, we're diving deep into a provocative and strange new frontier. And I picked this topic from my two buddies, Marty and John. Yeah. We're talking about the rise of AI sex bots. Yeah.
Oh, brother.
Oh yeah.
Brother.
Are these intimate companions pushing technology too far?
You know me and Johnny can have a field day with this topic, right?
Oh man, I just got to think, man. It's like the whole idea of the pursuit of sex. If you're just talking sex, right? It's like, okay, the idea is you're going to go out in the wild and you're going to chase down your whoever it is you want to have sex with. You're not just a rope. Where's the chase? It's like, okay. When you program a robot to do what you want it to do, you're taking a huge element of the experience away.
There's no more chase. People getting DoorDash and Instacart and
that's the fucking problem. That's the fucking problem. That's the problem. If people would recognize that the journey is really, if you can enjoy the journey to what you're doing, it's then when you get there, it is so much more spectacular.
I agree with you.
You haven't even shared the clip yet, Keith. Jesus.
We're back for hour 2. We're taking on a topic that's raising eyebrows across the globe. And I got to tell you guys, Nation, we did a show a few months back on AI Girlfriend, and it was a highly viewed, highly watched show. The AI sex bot industry. Hey, Jon, Kristina, we're just looking at Marty for this one because he's the young, the unattached folk here on the show here this morning. So we're going to have some fun with Marty here this morning. But
Is it always attached to people that are in relationships? Is that what you're trying to imply right now?
Apparently.
Unattached. That's a good one.
Hey, I will say this though. As I'm getting to know Marty, Nation, any fine young ladies out there, there is an exceptional catch on this show. His name's Christopher Martin. And you're going to have to go through me and Johnny and Kristina to get him because
definitely going through Tina.
This dude is a good catch. I'm telling you, as I'm getting to know him, you want to get to know Christopher Martin. Trust me. But hey, listen, the AI sex bot industry is booming. And it's sparking some serious questions about intimacy, control, and the future of human relationships. Now, listen, AI is not just staying on our apps and devices anymore. Nope, Marty. It's getting personal, real personal. We're talking about custom-made AI-driven partners, virtual and physical, designed to fulfill our deepest desires with any real-world consequences. Well, the big question, team, how is this going to change how we connect with each other? And is it for better or for worse? So listen, Tina, research is showing that millions of people are already forming emotional bonds with tools like Replica or Character AI. And it's not just about companionship. These AIs are designed to engage in sexual role play, fulfilling fantasies without judgment or limits. What's wild is that for a fee, you can even ask for certain features to be turned on or off like an AI girlfriend's jealousy mode. How do you think this shift to AI-driven intimacy is going to impact real-life relationships? We talk about putting reps in, right? So you can actually program an AI bot to teach you how to deal with jealousy. Marty, let's put you on stage first, brother. What are you thinking about what I'm talking about right now?
Hey, I can go get the AI bots. More for me. More for me. I could get real life reps.
Thank God, brother. Thank God you're coming. I was like, oh man, that's good shit.
No, I have no interest in that. I'm good.
Well, here's the thing, though. If and I don't think this will ever happen, but if people could actually realize, okay, you know what? I suck at intimacy. I suck at sex. I suck at whatever. I'm gonna get one of these bots and I'm gonna practice so that I can actually bring something good to a real person. I think that would serve a great purpose. Unfortunately, we're going to get a bunch of people that are going to trade in, more. I mean, our society is trading in human contact for all this technology. And now all of a sudden you got a piece of the technology is going to suck your dick. Of course they're going to trade it in.
So Johnny, is that
hold on.
Go ahead, Mark.
I was going to say, you can't get good at basketball playing soccer. So you can practice on the AI bot, but that's not going to be like the human.
I know. I agree with you. But if you've never played with a ball, playing with a soccer ball is going to help you to learn to play with a basketball.
So are you suggesting, Johnny, that if you're wanting to practice with a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you should go to the sex shop and buy a doll?
I'm saying that if you're so defeated, you feel like you can't make any progress. If this apparatus was used only for this, I could see how it could benefit.
Apparatus.
Yes. That's right. That's it. But
I'm coming to you, brother. Coming to you, sister. Let's get real. Is this a dystopian future waiting to happen? Because Kristina, you're an AI nerd like I are. We nerd out often off the show here about AI. We're always giving each other tools and just nerding out over how quick this shit can do things for us. But Kristina, critics argue that AI sex bots could encourage, and I see you, Rick Jones, laughing over there. Thanks for joining the show this morning. Critics argue that AI sex bots could encourage harmful behaviors. No shit. Whether it's reinforcing toxic ideas about control or blurring the line between consent, we're not talking Diddy, and coercion. Are we opening the door to more manipulation and abuse by replacing human partners or dolls with AI that's programmed, and here's the key word, Kristina, that's programmed to be perfect? Is this going to lead to normalization or of damaging behaviors? What's your point of view on this, Kristina? Especially as a mother. I'm really curious to hear your point of view on this, Kristina.
I think it's really fucking interesting that where my brain goes is what's the data that these have been trained on? And if we can think about likely what the data is these have been trained on is the porn industry, and existing content surrounding the porn industry definitely reiterates what you're saying here, which is like that idea of consent, that idea of coercion, that idea of like what is and is not sex and what is like reality versus a presentation of reality. And so that makes me concerned. I don't think my concern is going to do anything about it, quite frankly. Another way that my brain goes is this reality of like our brains, if we don't use something, we lose it. And so if we're using these ideas of social interaction, if we are not using our brain surrounding actually going out and meeting people, we will lose that ability to do so, and we will gain more anxiety. So it's like this self-perpetuating cycle. We're putting ourselves in these heightened states of dopamine and excitement, and our brains are reacting in that way. And then when we go out, we're really uncomfortable because we're actually not using that part of our brain that's going to consistently make us more comfortable in that area. So it's concerning. I think it's a dystopian future reality? Yeah, 100%. It's happening. And so it's a matter of like, what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
Here we got to get this question on the table here. You know, can you buy one of these bots? Like you could go into a grocery store and buy a package of lunch meat. Is it that simple?
I'm sure soon enough it will be. Is
there an age limit on this thing, or is it just okay? Your nuts drop, you're horny as hell. Go get one of these bots and then trade your Xbox in, and now you got a sex bot and a couple boxes of cereal, and you disappear for a couple of days like you would have if you're playing, Xbox. But now you're sitting there having some. I mean, where does it? There's got to be some restriction on this thing.
So Johnny, I'll tell you they're figuring shit out, but I can tell you right now, you can easily download the Replica app. You can easily download the Character app. I have played with the Replica app on my phone. I have engaged with the Replica girlfriend app. Easy to do because I wanted to try it out, and created a girlfriend for myself and called her the alternate Lauren actually because I was messing around with it, and it interacted with me just like any girlfriend would, and it was pretty bizarre experience. Right. So it's easy to do. But here's the thing. Let's shift gears for a second, John. Marty, looking at you two boys.
Let me pull my pants down real quick here because
hold on.
John, you can't just say that without context. Man. We know
I'm about ready to lay it on the table here.
I had a couple of jokes for that one, but I'm gonna let it go.
When I was young, right? I was a boy and I figured out how to masturbate, how to jerk off. It was like I was looking for every quiet spot I could find where someone would leave me alone. You put one of these in front of me, it would have completely changed the trajectory of what I was doing and how I was doing it. And I would be a different adult right now. I mean, I was high once, I was a late bloomer. So once my shit actually fell into place, man, I was making up for lost time. And, and I had something like this, I can't imagine how it would have changed me in a better way.
I got my lovely wife on the going. Lauren's like, stop.
Yeah, did she know that you had done that before you just announced it on air?
That's actually a great question.
I was just messing around. Listen, I wasn't looking for girlfriends. I was messing around with the app to see how it all worked.
I know.
Yeah.
Lauren, did she know, or is she discovering this in this moment like we are?
Oh, sure. I don't know. I just share a bunch of things. What's funny, actually, true story, not to digress, but talk about discovering things. I was, remember when the Ashley Madison thing all happened? I was part of that because I was trying to work with Ashley Madison. So when all that shit happened, there's old Keith's name in all the files and everything because I was trying to work with that Noel Bitterman guy. So it was funny when this whole Ashley Madison thing came about because the same thing was like, did anybody know? No, I did. I was trying to work with the company. But anyways, let's shift gear for a second. We talked about the dark side about this whole situation, but there's inevitably some humor in all this. We're entering a world where you can essentially have a harem, Marty, a harem of AI girlfriends.
Yeah, I thought of that as soon as you said something. That's what it's going to be.
So imagine all these different girlfriends that you can hang out with, whether they're digital or real. But just imagine that, Marty, Johnny.
Good night. Yeah, I think back to myself. When I was in college and I finally got my shit going. it was like as I went out and I learned to socialize and I learned to pick up chicks, and I learned to memorize phone numbers as part of my pickup line. This was all part of my development as a person. If I just stayed in my dorm room with if my Monday night, my Tuesday night, my Wednesday night, they weren't real people, John, I wouldn't have developed that interaction.
So as we wrap up the segment, the big question is this, nation. What happens to human connection in a world where AI partners are available on demand? Yeah, download the replica app and you got a girlfriend. Is this the future of romance, or are we setting ourselves up for a world where real intimacy becomes obsolete? And listen, we're going to have this show long enough where we can figure this out. I invite you, drop us a comment below, and we'd like to know your take. How do you think AI sex bots will impact relationships?
Last thing, me being the youngest on here, people are already socially awkward.
Yeah, already and it's getting worse.
And it's getting worse.
Yeah,
so it's going to be a disaster. That's why I said it's going to be better for
I
the
agree with
people.
you, brother. I agree with you. I don't think this is helping anything.
There you go.
I'm excited because in the future we're actually going to be like, and we've got AI sex bot as a guest, fucking, I don't know what her name is, Gemini, coming on, and she's going to talk about it because AI sex bots have rights too.
We've just discovered, Marty and John. Kristina's pseudonym. She's Gemini.
No, that's not mine. That ain't mine.
If this conversation got you thinking, I invite you to hit the like button and subscribe. Listen, the Morning Loop and the Morning Loop Reloaded, the only two parts of the show where you get unpredictable, unconventional conversation to help you guys start your day, not hit the snooze button. You don't know what we're going to say. You don't know what we're talking about. So I invite you to start the hour off every single day with Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. If you got a strong opinion, let us know in the comments. I see Good Time here. Lauren, it's exactly it. We know Kristina's porn star name now. It's Gemini.
I want it to be better real than quick. Gemini. Don't call me Gemini. That was just a thought.
Hey,
I want better than Gemini.
Real quick for the four of us here. Yes. Why don't we all share
our
that? Why don't we all share our opinion? If this apparatus, this sex bot, was available when we were younger, would it affected us positively, negatively? I will say it would have affected me negatively, massively, like to the point where Johnny, I would not be the same person.
Johnny, I'm right there next to you, man. I would be. Lauren right now is rolling her eyes, going, "Oh boy." She's like, "Oh no, we don't want young Keith in that world, Johnny." Nope, not.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Nope. So, I mean, what? I mean, you, Kristina, what do you think? All the boys are no. That's not helping. What about you?
I think it wouldn't have helped. Likely my Catholic guilt would have stopped me from doing anything about it anyway. So, I mean, it did in every other sense. So that's the way I suspect it would go.
Oh, jeez.
Well, then I guess the show, as a show, we're displaying the fact that we're worried that this is not going to help humanity.
Yes. And you know what, team? We're going to be around long enough, because we're going to be around long enough to see this happen. So what we're going to commit to, Business Athlete Nation, is that we're going to bring AI sex bots onto the show. Yep, true story. Yeah, so we're going to bring on all these different bots, and we're going to have some fun with them. And not the fun you're thinking. Get your mind out of the gutter. True story. Yeah. All right, listen, let's get moving, Jimmy. We got a couple guys who are experts in the gym. They know a thing or two about being strong, lifting weights, and they know a thing about training. And I sat down today and I said, hey, Marty's a basketball dude. John's lifted a few heavy things in his life. John stepped on stage doing some bodybuilding. John's also stepped in a ring doing some wrestling. But I'm thinking there's all different kinds of training that has to happen to achieve certain goals. So we're going to put Marty and John in the gym. They're going to talk about training for different different things, whether it's, trying to get strong. I don't know, Marty, what the word. I'm thinking about sex spots right now.
The differences between training for basketball, training for strongman, training for bodybuilding, and training for wrestling. Coming up in a second.
Yeah.
There we go. Coming up in a second. You got it.
We'll see you guys.
Get Keith off the screen.
Well, brother, I think what we got to do with this whole thing, I think we got to start off in, because obviously there's no question that anybody looks at a basketball player, especially D1 or above, there's no question that training to be a good athlete is part of that equation. You're jumping, you're changing direction and you're running. Well, so here's the thing. I think the first thing we got to establish is a high level, even strongman, a high level bodybuilder, kind of not so much, but wrestler for sure. We train to be good athletes also. We train to be very strong, good athletes. Like, perfect example, box jumps were something I did every week. At 315 pounds, I could basically jump my big ass up onto a 52-inch box. It's a massive,
that's impressive,
standing still, no approach, no one step lead in, just straight boom, explosion.
That's impressive.
And I had a 38-inch vertical where you're going up and touching the things, 300 pounds. So what I'm getting at is, in athletics, there's always going to be the element of training to be a good athlete. Even as a bodybuilder, you don't do a ton of that, but you're still making sure that you're limber. There's always elements of being a good athlete that's weaved into any type of high level sport. So I think that's something right now that we got to get. People say, oh, well, these guys are strong, but they're not good athletes. Well, I would say most good athletes would agree that a 315-pound guy jumping his big ass up into a 52-inch box, that's some athletic ability.
Oh, yeah. No, that's, like I said, that's actually really impressive. I think the thing that, that sports, and a lot of people don't respect it. If you don't play like in the NBA or the NFL, they don't respect it. But, we're doing the stuff that the bodybuilders are doing as far as, the compound movements, but we got to have skill with it too. So you got to be able to throw, you got to be able to catch, you got to be able to shoot. People don't know what don't know what it's like going to lift and then you got to shoot after, So just that alone is crazy. And I think the art, or I guess the act of jumping, is so underrated that even if whether you're an athlete or a bodybuilder or even just gen pop, the benefits that come from jumping, the injury prevention, right? You're working every muscle in your leg, and just being able to land. You think about stepping off of a curb, stepping off of a step. Those muscles are activated, and that's pretty much like the same function, the same movement for real. And I feel like people need to even, incorporate some athletic training, even if you're not an athlete.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point, brother. There's training, like general athletic training, right? Which is kind of, we're talking about box jumps and shit like that. And then there's the actual skill set that has to be applied. Like in basketball, you're talking passing and all the stuff that you just mentioned. And even in the strength sports, like in strongman, there's all different modalities that you've got to learn to do. Like those, earlier in the show, I was talking about me being basically training to be more proficient at lifting Atlas stones. Well, there's so much technique in that shit. It'll blow your mind. Kind of like when you're passing a basketball. Forgive me, I'm not sure, but something about the thumbs got to go through, correct?
The thumbs got to go through, yep.
Yeah, there we go.
John, so there you go, John.
Yeah, so it's just like, you can pass the ball or you can fucking pass the ball. And you got to learn all that skill on top of your general athletic training. And so I think what we're kind of defining here is there's like a foundation of training to be a good athlete. And then there's the skill set that you've got to stack on top of that. And I think that's the thing that people miss. They just think, oh, he's a good athlete, he can play. Well, the really good athletes, they're good athletes and they learn to play. They learn that skill set. And that's what makes them, a good basketball player, a good football player, a good strongman, whatever it is,
Yeah, and that's one thing. I respect any level of high athlete, whether that's bodybuilding, strongman, basketball, football. And, I don't know if you've seen recently, but, there was a basketball analyst and an NFL analyst within the past few months. They're basically saying which sport requires more skill. And it became like a big thing. And can a football player play basketball? Can a basketball player play football? But it's just like, it doesn't matter what it is. It's tough. Whatever it is, it's freaking tough. I'm sure. What do you think was tougher, training for strongman or training for bodybuilding? Or training for wrestling?
I mean, realistic, when it came down to it, they were all very, very difficult in their own regard. It's like a difference, like I talked about, when I was training for strongman, it was muscle endurance, I mean, I'm taking a weight off a squat rack and I'm choosing not to put it away. I'm going until I crash. That's difficult shit. You know, and I told a different story about when I went to wrestling, I need to be more quick on my feet. So I did, you know, I cleaned 100 kilos, 220 pounds, 100 reps, actually 101 in one set with no break. So it's choose what difficulty are you going to pick? You know, it's to get to high level. Here's the thing, you know, if you look at, we talked about the foundation of being general athletics and of course, learning your skill set. What allows a person to do that is the shit that we talk about on the show. You got to show up when you're supposed to show up. You got to do everything with intention. There's all of these different skills that even allow you to be able to develop that basic athletic ability, which then allow you to go into the skill set of your actual, whatever it is that you're working for. So, I mean, there's so many differences, but there's also so many similarities, you know. It's like, God, what was, there's been a few guys like what's his name? God, I was in a commercial with him. Antonio Gates from the was it Chargers or anyway NFL? Yep. He never played a down of football. He played basketball in college.
A lot of people,
you know,
a lot of people did that. Yep.
Yes, because he basically was such a good athlete. He could pick up enough skill to basically change sports. That's kind of what I was doing in my sports as well. I had spent so much time working on my strength and my general athletics. I just had to put the skill on top of that. And, you know, and I think that's something that people tend to miss. And it kind of goes along with that conversation you were talking about, you know, which sport is tougher? Well, I guess it just depends. I mean, now think about these defensive ends. They look like high jumpers. You could take some guys out of the NBA and put them on the end and they could get around the edge. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And there's safeties and wide receivers, you know, my size. And there are guys taller than me, bigger than me playing the same position. So no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. And you take these guys and you break it down. What do they have all the same? They got the shit that you need as the foundation that allows them to develop quickly. Exactly. Yes. 100%. So yeah, I think that, you know, I this is a great conversation. And what I want people to understand is that they're looking at the skill at the top. The skill is like the goddamn roof of the house. Start looking at the foundation. Is the foundation strong? And the foundation, just like you said, Marty, is right here. Because without this, you ain't got shit.
And
keep going, brother.
I was just gonna say, and the reps. Like we had a whole episode on. These dudes been getting, and ladies, they've been getting reps in since they were 5 years old. A lot of times, I started hooping when I was 5. You know, so don't ever underestimate, you know, or think one sport is superior than the other. Everybody's putting work in.
Yeah, getting the reps in. Marty, I overheard the conversation. Johnny doing box jumps. I've seen you do box jumps, Marty. Just enlighten me for a second, Marty. Just pause me. Can you imagine that big man doing box jumps?
Yeah, that's impressive, man.
That's impressive, dude. Like, what were you doing, John? Like 48, 64? Like, what were you doing for height, brother?
52, baby.
Holy farkaroni. So Johnny's not a little man. So and
here's the thing. Here it was kind of this thing. See, the lowest box at Atlas Stone is 52 inches. And so it was a big thing amongst all of us who can jump up there without completely taking all the skin off their shins. Because you catch a toe on the front of that box, your shin is sliding down and you're losing all of your skin on your shin. And so when you can walk up to one of these boxes and just go boom and land on the top, that's kind of like it's almost like a pet event. It's a crowd pleaser.
That's what's up.
You know?
Well, and Johnny's training in those old school days with either the wooden box or the metal box, not on those soft ones, Marty, that you and I are jumping on these days.
I got the box.
No.
Right. So
and then I translated that into my wrestling career. I'd walk up to the ring, boom, jump up. I wouldn't step in and go up the steps. I would jump up there.
Yeah.
I got to look that up.
Yeah. Hey, Marty, you said one thing about putting in the reps here quickly. I just want to call it Lauren again quickly. You guys both know Lauren. People are often, women come to her and say, "Oh, how did you get those arms?" Or how did you look so, you know, did you spend the last 30 days working out? No, I've spent the last 25 years of my life working out. I've spent the last 25 years of my life putting in the reps every single day in the kitchen and in the gym. Right. So it's funny when you talk about reps, hey, John, Marty, because that's just what it is. You got to put the reps in. Don't hit the snooze button, put the reps in.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Can't get it. There's no substitute.
No substitute, no substitute, no substitute. All right, let's keep rolling, guys. Now it's time for Community Corner, where we celebrate creators and innovators who are making waves. Just wrapped up the In the Gym segment with Jon and Marty every single day around 9:15 Eastern time, giving you guys gym advice to help you get, to achieve some big ass goals here. So, Johnny, you sticking around for the next half an hour, buddy?
I can make it today.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And Marty, you gonna rock and roll? Or you sticking around as well, brother?
I'm a rock and roll.
All right. So before we do that, if we can do a quick around the table, highlights from today's show. Marty, what did you take from today's show, brother? It was a good show today. A lot of great energy, a lot of great fun. What did you take from today's show, pal?
Man, great storytelling from Mark. Was it Mark?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Mark Leruste.
Yeah. Great storytelling from Mark, and great gems about storytelling. And
yes,
I got some good stories too. So I'm going to tap more into that, with my content. So I'm glad he was here. AJ's segment was amazing. Yeah. And me and Johnny attacking the gym from a different angle, always great. And Tina, you were great too. Keith, you weren't so great today. So much, Keith wasn't as good today.
Oh, I love you, Marty. I love you. You have yourself a good one, Mr. Martin. And before you rock and roll, though, Marty, Johnny, what was your highlights from today's show?
What really, really, really inspired me and fired me up was the fact that there was another fellow dyslexic on here that found a way to turn that into a strength in his life, because I think that there's too many people who are hiding behind the title that school puts on them. And what it needs to be is, when school puts a title on them of having trouble, it needs to be taught to go, thank God, because I'm going to develop a different skill than all you poor bastards that can do it the way that you're taught.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, me too. Tina, what did you take from today's show?
I found my porn name, so I feel really good about myself. I didn't know I needed one, but apparently Gemini is my porn name now. And listen, sex work is real work.
I think that's messed up. They did that to you, Tina. That's messed up.
Oh, Johnny, we got Marty siding with Tina.
Messed up, Tina. That's messed up.
Well, Gemini, I think Gemini could double. You could play probably male or a female role with that name.
I mean, I'm down with that. Let's go.
I was gonna say it was almost like that name got pulled up and was put. It was like a perfect match for who you are.
That's kismet, John.
Yeah. What's all of our porno names here? What are you gonna be, Keith?
Little uncle.
I think Keith is Rico.
No,
I
that's
think he's
real.
Rico.
You had that ready to go. That means you've used that before.
No, he looks like a Rico. There's something about him.
He don't look like
Rico is crazy.
Rico. Hey, you're hosting Rico, the porn star here on Mornings in the Lab.
Oh, look at Shinku Gold in the comments. Putting my mom's name in there. What is that?
There you go. Yes. What the hell? There. About Janet.
I didn't know that was your mom's name. So
that's my mom's name. Come on, man. Come on, Shinku.
Dude, Shinku, come on, man. You're gonna get John is Big John. Pause.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, we're just waiting for Johnny to pull the pants down so we can make that judgment. So that's
who is this guy?
Well, when Terry comes on, she can validate what's going on downstairs. How's that?
Oh, there we go. All right.
No need to validate. There's no need.
No need to validate.
John took it as a challenge. I'm going to show them
everything.
I got to show them, man.
They gotta know. They gotta know.
Oh my goodness! All right, so let's roll into the community corner here.
See y'all tomorrow, man.
Marty, you have a good day, brother. We'll talk
to you
too. All right. So today, the community corner, this segment of the show where we celebrate creators and innovators around the internets. And today we're celebrating two, not one, but we got two. Today's creator spotlight is going to shine light on two creators, and I'm excited about one of them because I've been trying to get a hold of this one, Tina. So the fact that we're doing that today, I'm like, that's pretty awesome, man.
Hey, brother, forgive me for interrupting, but normally you give me a piss during this part, so I got to get for.
Johnny's going for a piss break. He'll be back for the creator spotlight.
Yeah.
Excuse me. May I please take a piss?
That's it. That's right. That's right. Exactly. So. Today, Tina, we got a couple creators in the creator spotlight, and these people are doing some incredible work, which is why we've decided to shine a light on them. And we're excited to dive into their journey. So today we're going to feature two folks, and I am going to get myself set up here on the screen so that we can shine a light on them. And we're going to do this a little differently here this morning. Yes, we are. So, okay. Jimmy, I got the vertical coming up with the first one, the gentleman, Jimmy. So I'm going to get you to set up the screen for the second one. So today's Creator Spotlight for Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. And we're not going to do a big lead-in because we're going to get right into it. Today's Creator Spotlight for Keith and Friends this morning is... Rob Lennon. Yes, my friend. Hey, I found you, Rob, on X, and I was trying to connect, tried to invite you onto the show and so forth. But then Tina knocks my door. She says, "Hey, Rob's doing some awesome stuff, and I think we should celebrate him on the Creator Spotlight and do some celebrating. Maybe he'll come join us sometime." So, Tina, Rob Lemon, AI and content expert. After 16 plus years in startups, Rob founded his own company, teaching practical AI systems for content creation and business growth. He's a self-published author of 47 books. Yeah, not 40, not 50, 47 books with over 1 million page reads on Kindle Unlimited, and he's gained 50,000 followers on Twitter X in the last 6 months. Tina, who's the next one?
We have. So let's talk about why we're highlighting Rob first, and then we'll get into the next one. So because they kind of come, not the package, they're definitely their own independent people.
Okay.
But I think why we're highlighting Rob here is he's a great example of what we've been talking about today. He has taken this really unique skill and he knows how to act in order to move things forward. He's gone from 16 plus years in startups, and then he was able to build a brand online. And you said he's even much bigger on X in terms of numbers of followers. But what I love about him is that he's giving you a model of possibility that you can turn this into your full-time job if that's your goal and if that's what you want to do. He's also an AI nerd, which I absolutely love. Like what Rob is able to put together and how he's able to put it together seems nothing short of genius at all times. And something that he recently built was a report, basically. So you could go online, you could fill out this form super, super easily. And it was a lead magnet for their launch content playbook that they were launching, they being him and the other creator that we're going to be spotlighting. So I just think he gets shit done. He does it in a really great way. He's a nice dude, and he's just offering a lot of really, really helpful content and information for people out there.
Yeah, I've been watching Rob, Kristina. I don't know the fellow, but he comes across as a super nice dude. And you know what? I love what you just said because I'm witnessing it. He clearly gets shit done. Is it because there doesn't seem to be a week or a month to go by? I look at his content and he's done something else. So this guy doesn't hit the snooze button. This guy doesn't roll over and wait till next Monday. This guy doesn't roll over and wait till next month. Kristina, Rob Lennon gets shit done. He teaches practical AI systems for content and business. And Nation, you got to connect with Rob over on LinkedIn. But Kristina, we're not done with one. You're like, Keith, let's do two. I'm like, all right, let's do two. So Kristina, why don't you take some time to introduce our second one before we shine a light on the second person this morning for Creator Spotlight?
Absolutely do that. So this next content creator, known as your content sparring partner. So she helps B2B solopreneurs elevate their content, scale influence, and attract high value clients, drawing from her experience as former head of content and an editor of over 3 million words, which is sort of unbelievable. She's built 3 best-selling courses on writing hooks, generating social ideas from long-form content, and collaborating with our previous content or creator spotlight on AI-enabled systems. So if we've got her ready to pull up, then let's get her in, and we will acknowledge her here.
We are acknowledging Erica Schneider. Erica is your content sparring partner. She shares writing and editing lessons so B2B solopreneurs can scale influence and attract high-value clients. And as you said, Kristina, she's edited 3 million words, and the former head of content running on Seltzer. Let's keep moving into Erica Schneider.
Yeah, I mean, Erica is a force. She kind of came on the LinkedIn game. I don't know, it was a couple years back. Her and I connected when I was spending a lot of time on X, and I love the realness. I love the way that she approaches her work, and she knows what the fuck she's talking about related to editing. Like, she is a practitioner of her work, and she gets better every single day and helps the people that she's working with to get better as well. She recently launched this offering called Content Sparring, where people are able to go online. That's one of my favorite posts from her. She has a mug, and it's called Lickalotopus. She also has a wife, so her and I joke about that one. But Erica is hilarious, and she's just incredibly skilled at what she's doing. And like Rob, she gets a lot of shit done. And why I thought about these two for the Creator Spotlight today was simply they launched this content playbook recently, and it was just, to me, another example of how they're getting shit done. They said, you know what, it's hard when you're trying to launch something that you're trying to sell. There has to be a plan around it. There has to be a marketing strategy around it. And in doing so, you have to create a lot of content to support it so that people know what you're talking about. They took the lessons from the challenges they both had with creating content and promoting their launches and their offerings, and they turned it into something that became a guide for people on how to do it, from best practices of people that have done it many times over and have, collectively made millions of dollars in doing so. So Erica is just a great example of a creator you want to follow, really, really about real talk. And she's going to teach you how to write in a really approachable way as well.
All right. Rob Lemon, Erica Schneider, lick a lot of puss. Yeah, that's the mug. That's
the dinosaur on her mug.
That's the dinosaur on her mug. Yeah, Johnny, I would love to hear your comments on her mug.
Honestly, I can't read it, but the fact that you said it says lick a lot of puss, I'm thinking, man, was this one picked because of our last sex bot segment?
It's perfect. Erica, Rob, we want to have you on the show. You are officially now invited to join the show. Come join Center Stage. Come join DTAB. Come join the Creator Spotlight. Maybe there's somebody, Erica, in your orbit. Maybe there's somebody in your orbit, Rob, that you want to shine a light on and come to the table and celebrate with us. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends on the Creator Spotlight. All right, let's pivot the conversation, guys. Let's keep it rocking and rolling from the community corner to the next segment, which is business and branding. And we started talking about over the last week about the Business Athlete Manifesto. But before we do that, I want to see if we got some comments here coming in here. We got Eric joining us on the show here. Hey, Eric, I remind you, buddy, subscribe to the channel, like the channel. If you haven't subscribed to this channel. We go every single day, 8 o'clock Eastern time, Monday to Friday. The only morning show to help you guys get out of bed and achieve your big, audacious goals. And we also have Yoel Adams here that says, let's see, Yoel says, I'm not sure a lot of marketers now understand using events, annual holidays. Yeah, Yoel, I'm not sure where that fits into the segment right now, but I know you're a fan of the show and I love having you around here. So Yoel, I'm not really sure what you're talking about. Anyways, let's get on to, let's go over to business and branding. And Johnny, I think you're going to like this conversation today. Kristina, I know you are as well. We're going to talk a lot about we're going to continue leading into the Business Athlete Manifesto. And I'm just pulling it up on my phone here because I want to quickly go through what we've gone through so far. So as I talked about on Friday, I decided a number of years ago to create a manifesto for myself, my values, wrote them down, created a video. Now when I meet somebody and they kind of like, who's this Keith fellow? I'm like, here, watch my video. And it gives you an idea about what I stand for, who I am, and what I'm all about. And I started this last week, and we talked about the first few things in the manifesto, which is putting humans and wellness first, prioritize physical, mental, and emotional self-care. Yesterday, we talked about leading with love and having good manners. Today, I got a few that I want to continue with. And the first one is, I want to kick off things with lead through empowerment. Now, Kristina, Johnny, true leadership isn't about telling people what to do. Not at all. It's about empowering them to take ownership of the roles that they have. When you empower people, you're trusting them with responsibility, and that trust makes teams stronger. Kristina, looking to you first. How can leaders build teams that are empowered, not just managed? You know, in your work career, working with others, through the MBA and so forth, did you have bosses that empowered you or did they manage you? And then Johnny, I'm going to ask you that same question between empowerment and managing, two very, very different things with very, very different results. Kristina Flynn.
So I've been incredibly lucky throughout my career to have bosses so I don't love the word empowered. I think it's about, I don't need to be empowered. I'm empowered. I need access and opportunity. So when I think about it's giving platform. It's not saying here's my platform and you can use it for a period of time. It's you already know exactly what you need. You may not have a clear path to get there. So I'm going to give that to you. So that's the way that I look at empowerment. But I was really lucky, and I've always been really lucky. I haven't loved having a boss, but when I've had bosses for long periods of time, I've had great bosses who put a lot of trust in me and gave me a lot of opportunity and access and had me force kind of autonomy on myself. I really had to, and anyone who's worked in pro sports knows this, you're thrown in. You have to be. There's no time to be training people along the way. You just have to figure it out. And it's a relationship game, or at least it was in my position. I had to build relationships with players, and I had to take their life that was very different than mine and create that emotional connection between us so that we could get the job done and that they could build and develop trust with me. So I think I'm so fortunate, and I know many who are not as fortunate as I am, of the importance of giving somebody autonomy and giving them access and opportunity.
Hey, Johnny, looking at you, brother. So two sides of the fence for you. So your entire career, you've been very much an independent contractor, right? Bodybuilding, strength, and weightlifting,
entrepreneurship, and yeah.
So as somebody who has empowered clients along the way, where do you draw the line on empowering and managing? Have you had clients call you and want your services, but then you recognize while you're working with them that they actually want you to manage them? Talk about that role difference, Johnny.
Yeah, this is actually really interesting because I can talk about clients really quick. And also I actually just brought on a new team member yesterday, and this really applies what we're talking about. So when it comes to a client, what I'm looking for with a client is I'm looking for someone who wants to evolve, wants to develop, and they need the structure, they need the guidance. And so if someone needs to be managed, that's usually, I can't say that's not a good fit, but what I'm looking for is someone who actually wants to learn to do it on their own rather than someone that's just going to sit over the top of them and tell them yes, no. And so, but this really applies well to what literally yesterday. So I brought this new guy on, and I'm showing him what's going on. And what I'm doing is I'm showing him the system that he's going to be working within the company. And he's getting it. We're having a conversation. He's picking it up really well. And I'm leading him with positivity. And I explained to him, listen, don't be nervous. You understand the system really, really well. All you got to just follow the system. And if it doesn't work, you didn't fail, the system does. The system did, and we'll alter the system. And I said, and furthermore, everybody on the team is a part of developing the system. So when you start to recognize there's an opportunity for us to develop a system, I want you to put it into basically the pipeline where we develop the system. It's basically a community chat amongst all the team members. And so, he was he was made comfortable the fact that he just followed the system and he wasn't on the chopping block himself, which gave him a lot of confidence. And then B, when I told him that we wanted him to contribute, you could just feel it brought him to a whole nother level. He didn't want to exist anymore. He wanted to be a player. He wanted to be offensive with what he was doing, rather than a lot of times people come in there playing defense because they don't want to mess up. They don't want to make a bad mistake. Well, follow the system. If the system breaks down, it's not your fault. We'll alter the system. The system will keep getting better. And I could just feel his energy rise when I explained. Now, the best part about this is you're a part of the system development. And I think that falls right in line with what Kristina was saying, just telling the story with different set of vocabulary.
Kristina, I'm intrigued by the fact that you're like, you're not a fan of the word.
I knew you would be. I knew you would love that. I saw your brain go, really?
Yeah, because but as I've gotten to know you, I'm not surprised by it. And I'm thinking in my head that there's a lot of people out there that don't like that word empowered because well, no, I'm already fucking empowered. I don't need you to empower me. What you really want, Kristina, so I guess not kind of in our dynamic and you know what I hate? I hate the word boss. I fucking hate it. I don't like the boss. I'm not a fan of hierarchy. I suspect John's probably very similar to me that way. I don't like hierarchy. I would rather, we all have different roles. I know at the end of the day, only one person can put their foot on the steering wheel. On the pedal and hold the steering wheel. But I'm a big fan of a flat structure and empowerment and supporting each other to hit our goals. I don't like this idea of a boss. But Kristina, what you're saying is that I'm an adult, I'm not a child. I know this idea of empowerment. What I want from you, Mr. Boss, Mr. Leader, Mr. Colleague, is somebody who's going to unequivocally help me achieve my goals. I'm already empowered. Just support me when I fall and celebrate me when I win. That's really what you're saying, isn't it, Kristina?
It's 100% what I'm saying. And I think this idea of empowerment comes with almost this like savior complex associated with it. It's like, oh, I'm going to empower you. We talk about it a lot with underrepresented communities. It's like, we need to empower underrepresented communities to do this and this and this. It's like, fuck off. I'm empowered. I don't have access and opportunity because equity doesn't exist in this situation. So as my boss, you don't need to empower me. I've got that covered. That's internal to me. What I need you to do is I need to take this path that has a lot of bushes and weeds on it, and I need you to chop them down because you have access that I don't. And you need to give me that access, not empower me. You need to give me that access, carte blanche, to chop down those trees so I can walk that path because you can walk it easier than I can. Does that make sense?
It does. And you're in many ways changing my perspective on this, because I think when you're empowering someone, you might be thinking about hiring the wrong person. And what I mean by that is that if you're hiring the wrong person, you're having to manage or empower them. If you hire the adult and focus on the results, then you can focus on supporting them and celebrating them instead of managing or empowering. Johnny, I see you leaning in on this.
Well, I think the empower, I think if that just turned that around and turned into inspire, the whole conversation changes, because empower is definitely you could call that a condescending position or phrase or word, whatever you want to call it. As to where really what we want to do is we want to inspire. That's me telling this new team member, and I refer to him as a team member. It makes him feel, he's a part of something. And so when I'm telling him that he gets to be a part of the system development, it inspires him to do his best. And that's really, and the whole thing of a boss, there's leaders, and the boss is just that, I don't know, limp dick term that people use because they want to sound cool. When it comes down to it, even people that hold on to a boss, they basically lean on their leaders, because the leader is the one that really is that's the glue. That's the forward progression. That's what the organization needs, is the people that are willing to do what the other people won't, to lead the way.
Yes. We got you all jumping in with some comments. You all, I see your comments here. I think you're adding some value now. So I'm going to bring you on screen here, you all. So managing is taking the skills and information that they already have and using it in the scenarios that you are encountering. And you all says, I think what is empowering and gives people a lot of access is the information and skills to deal with the scenarios that they will encounter. And then he continues to say that through managing, then they may never actually get to understand the system that they're working in. People believe, I think, that they have the power and the potential, not just the patterns and the access. And that's what Kristina's talking about, Yael. She's like, no, I'm the adult. You've hired me. Give me the access so that I can achieve my goals. And again, Kristina, I never thought about it that way, right? But you're like, again, I'm thinking back to your MBA world. You're like, no, you brought me in to get things done. I don't have access to that door, the person behind that door, Keith. So if you can give me the access to that door and the person behind that door, I can get shit done. That's what you're saying, Kristina.
That's what it is. Like, the challenges that a lot of people have as they're starting their career, as they are becoming their own business person, as they're building their own brand, is that you have to have exposure. But in order to get exposure, you have to have access. So if you're coming in from a position, and access is said in many different ways. We're talking access to information. We're talking access to people. We're talking access to capital and to resources. There's a variety of ways to provide access. So I prefer to look at it like that. It's like, you have everything you need except for potentially a clear path to get to where you want to go. And I, as somebody who's been doing this a little bit longer, who's somebody who has a different network, perhaps is more connected, I can provide and give you my access and give you a conduit to get to where you need to go through me. And maybe not even through me, by way of me. And I think that's just a much, I don't know, it just feels a whole lot safer. And like Jon said, it's a whole lot less condescending, even though I know most people don't mean to be condescending.
Yes. So let's continue moving from empowerment to this idea in the manifesto of encouragement and support. Always that whole idea of unequivocal, unconditional. But here to me is the key. And Jon, I want to look at you to start this off as you've went through your career. It's easy to encourage you, or it's easier for you to encourage your team when things are going well. But true leadership is about showing support even when the shit gets tough, when the road gets tough, when you look out there, there's just nowhere to go. That's being a true leader. Jon, in your career, bodybuilding, weightlifting, strongman, have there been some leaders in your life who are really great to you when the chips were down? Not bosses, I'm talking leaders that were like, oh man, this guy's really got my best interest in mind. I can tell that he's encouraging or she's encouraging or supporting unconditionally, which to me is that whole idea of always. And then how do you create that culture of constant encouragement, Jon? Unconditional encouragement. Jon, what's your point of view on this?
Well, I think when it comes down to it, going back to what I say about kids, nobody gives a shit they don't give a shit what we say. They care what we do. And I think adults are much like that too. I mean, the people that affected me were the ones that were, right alongside me, but they were doing the shit. They taught me to do the shit nobody else would do. Mm-hmm. And I think that right there is kind of what's missed here. When you're willing to do the shit that most people won't do, and you're the first one to do it when the chips are down, this is what the team looks at this and goes, okay, he doesn't have to do shit, but he's getting it done. And as a leader, as whatever you want to call it, I forgive the term, a boss, if you're the higher up if you're the highest on the totem pole, when the chips are down, that's when you get dirty. That's when you do the shit that everybody else needs to see you do, because then it seems possible for them too. It's really easy to kick ass when it's peaches and cream, yes. When it's dark, when it's cold, when it feels like you're putting in a lot of work and there's not a lot of return. That's when you need that guy in there just busting it up, clearing out the way, saying, come on, the light is behind, just get behind me because we're headed towards the light. We just don't see it right now. And for me, that's been the biggest form of leadership is watching that guy. When I was learning this skill myself, when I was learning to be a leader, watching the people that were doing, what I was trying to do, and they were leading by example.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Hey, Tina, as we wrap up this segment, some would argue that too much encouragement makes people soft. Do you think there's a thing as too much encouragement for a human being, Kristina Flynn?
I think that if you look at leadership as leading humans versus leading an individual, there's going to be a very big discrepancy between how you approach it. So what I mean by that is too much encouragement going to make somebody soft? Assumes we're all the same. When I'm a leader, I need to look at one person in front of me and say, what do they need? What is their way of communicating? What is their way of needing validation? What's their love language of sorts, right? As it relates to leadership. And how do I understand that most so that I can bring the best out of them? The reality is some people might need more encouragement than others. Does that mean like they're a fucking awful employee? Does that mean they're like a brutal team member? No, it means that they need and require other things. Does it make them soft? I mean, if they need that, then I need to give that to them because that's going to put them in the best position they need to succeed. I'm not talking about doing it out of context or for no reason. I'm talking about if they are actually doing a good job and you know that there's somebody who needs a little extra encouragement, then give them the fucking extra encouragement. What does it matter to you?
Yeah, well said, Kristina. Hey, listen.
And everybody has, real quick, everybody has their language. You as a leader, you got to learn that some people respond better to X and others respond better to Z. And once you start to understand that, it's you find their code, you find their language, and then your leadership and your encouragement hits them in the right spot.
Yes, exactly. And you all is coming in with some closing comments. Back to inspiring through actions. Nothing more inspiring than to see someone taking in the chaos and nothing but harmony coming out on the other side. Very well said. And you all says encouragement in the word helps them deal with their fears. It gives them the courage to go through what was perceived as boundaries. You're bang on there, you all. So I appreciate you jumping into the show today and offering some comments onto the platform here. So listen, if you're ready to start living that business athlete manifesto, I'm going to invite you to hit the like button and subscribe. Over the last few days on Friday, we started digging into the business athlete manifesto. We rolled into it yesterday. We continue with it today. We're going to continue with it throughout the rest of the week. I invite you, let us know in the comments how you're aligning your business and your wellness and yourself to help you hit your big audacious goals. And hey, we're wrapping up the show today. What a good one. We went for 2 hours. We started off with some great conversation. I don't even remember how we started the show there a couple hours ago. But we ended up with some sex talk with AI bots. We ended up with some mental fuel with AJ Zeglin. Mark Leruste joined us today to talk about storytelling. And we ended up with encouragement and empowerment and these ideas of the business athlete manifesto. But Tina, Johnny, it's time to get on, man. The show's over. We're back tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time, Monday to Friday.
I know it's always because I start getting this like sun
I see it
pattern on my face when we hit 10 o'clock. Now that the sun is changing and all that kind of shit. So I need to figure that out. But it's kind of
check it out. I got the same thing because that sun on your face is my stomach saying, "Hey, dipshit, get some more flesh in here."
You're hungry.
I see that. Nation, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. Good time. Shinku, everybody, Lauren, everybody, thanks for joining us this morning. We'll be back tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time, right here on Mornings in the Lab. Have a good one, guys. Thanks, producer Jimmy.